Hey, you guys, happy Friday Live. And I double checked and it really is Friday. So I'm off on the right foot today. Anyways, I hope you guys have been having a great week. It's been super fun having everybody signing up for our challenge, which is starting on Monday. So it's going to be our Unleash Your Vision challenge, where we're going to be talking about what's coming in the future, right? What's coming for healers, for all of us. What's it going to be like, and how do we expand our vision of what's possible so that we can help to land that reality? Because we are the co-creators, right? The energy is here, but a lot of it is up to us in terms of what we create with it. Um, anyways, I'm been we've been going through, everybody's been joining, and it's been super cool. Everybody's been introducing themselves, and the bios would just blow you. If you haven't been over there and checked it out, the bios will blow your mind. We have so many amazing people in this community. Like, seriously, if you just read through the bios, and also different, like so many different modalities. And people have just, people in there who have been, working at this for years, who are groundbreakers. We've got people who are, creating incredible, wild cocktails in their kitchen that are healing, all kinds of incredible stuff happening. So anyways, you got to check it out. The other thing that we've been doing in the group has been, everybody is, on Monday we're going to be breaking out into small groups, and in those small groups we're going to be talking about really helping to, like I said, helping to land this new vision. And so I thought it would be really useful to use my soul type work to help divide us up into those groups, so that I could give each group a prompt based on their soul type. So that everybody's working sort of in their zone of genius. We're really pulling out the best of each of us as part of this. So I love this concept, and it's brought up, as everybody has been posting in what their soul type is. I realized that it would really be helpful for you guys to have more information on what the soul types are all about. What does this mean? So that's the subject for today's Friday Lives. I'm going to be talking more about, what are the soul types, and how does this impact us, and how does it express in our lives? So there are 7 different soul types, and I, to give you a sense of what this is all about, I'll read you just a short channeled description from the angels about what the soul types are. And they say, each of us has all 7 as part of our foundation. It is the wellspring we draw from. It is God. And God is my word, by the way. So that's how they speak of it. But please substitute your word. We have all within. We express only one because it is the causeway through which we can create in this lifetime. So your soul type, so there's 7 aspects of God or spirit within us, and each of us has one through which we're creating in this lifetime. And so if you think about this, it's very meaty, this concept. There's a lot to it. So if you think about what is source energy, what is God, as we think of God, it's creative. God is a creator, creative source energy. This is all about the process of creation. And so it is the energy, you could say the energy of source that's within us is a creative energy, and that we are at our core. What are we? We are creators, that it is the real us, the you that is you, is your attention, is your awareness, where you put it, and that attention is a creative force. You are creating through this process. So at our very essence, what we are, what is our soul energy? It is a creative force. So when we say that I am, right, I am source, I am God, because of the fact that we are creators. So understanding this sort of very key core concept of what is it? Well, who are we? What are we? And then understanding that there are sort of 7 flavors of creation among us. You realize how important this is, how important this concept is, because it really does get to the core of who we are. So why do we come here to Earth? It's to understand ourselves better as creators. That that we come here to understand ourselves as in terms of who, and really to remember, when we say we want to come back to ourselves, to remember more of ourselves. It's remembering more of ourselves as creators. And it's much harder for us to do that on the astral because of the fact that, on the astral plane, we are still creators, but when you want to create, when you're there, it's instantaneous, right? You think of something and boom, it's there. It's instant. So when you're trying to understand something, if it happens super, super fast, it's really hard for us to see ourselves. It's sort of like that old thing about a fish in water, that you can't see the water because you're just in it all the time, that you're just not aware of it. And it's the same thing on the astral, is that your ability to create, you manifest so quickly that you don't really have a chance to break it down and understand it. So here on Earth, the thing that makes it so different, and the reason why it's so much more powerful here, is that we have the advantage of time, of spreading out the process of creation over time. So when you want to create something, you can start your creative process, but it might not manifest for 8 weeks. And so you've got this time period in which to watch your own process unfolding and to see, what is it that you're doing, right? How does this work? How do we do this? What is it that we're up to when we create? And how does our own mechanism work? So the goal really for being here and is to break down this process of creation so that we can see ourselves. So and time is one way to do that, but an even better way to do that, to break down this process, is to give us each only one piece of the puzzle, right? So rather than coming here equipped with the whole expression of source energy within us, we only come with one piece, with one of the, and so think of this as, think of source energy sort of planning this whole wild earth adventure. And so source energy would in the desire to better understand itself, break itself into 7 pieces and give us each one of those pieces. So that's what we carry within us, is this the energy that we are expressing in this lifetime. So the beauty of doing that, like part of the reason this is so brilliant as a plan is that we, holding this one energy, we express it purely, right? We become, we personify that energy. So we make it real. In this the 3D reality here, we become that energy. And so we're expressing it through in every way that we are, and everything that we do. And so through the process of trying to create our lives, and we're expressing just this one energy, we begin to feel and know, what are our comfort spaces? What are the things that we are naturally good at, that we love to do? And then what are the things that are the areas that we're not comfortable with, right? That we don't see. So where was I? Talking about how when we're here, you experience both the areas of comfort, and then you also become aware of the gaps in your own process. Because even though we only have one of these energies, you're trying to complete the whole process of creation. So we become aware of the areas that we're not great at. And think about in your own life, when you're trying to do stuff, you have areas that you excel, but then there's going to be areas that are hard for you, the things that are difficult. And those are our gaps. Those are the energies that we're not expressing in this lifetime. So we live that out, right? And we also live out the conflict, the contrast with the other different soul types. So, and that's embodied by all the people around us. So, we have to work out this creative process between us. So sometimes, we need them to be able to help us in order to complete something, because they hold an energy that we're missing. So we might look to them to be a partner with us as we're trying to bring something into reality. And through that contrast, through the process of working with others, not only do we see and appreciate the energies that they embody, but we also see ourselves more fully, and we become more deeply aware of the energy that we are holding. And that awareness informs source, right? Source becomes to know itself better, all the aspects of itself better through us as we fully embody each of these energies. So, and then we discover through this process that we really need each other, right? That we need all these different energies in order to really fully create, that we get to places where it's like, I just can't take this any further without a little help, right? There's things I can't do. Or can't do well, right? So as we go through this process, sort of the final goal as we're working through this, as we grow as a person, as we grow as a soul, is we get to a place where we need to stretch ourselves to embody more of these energies, right? And the interesting thing is, reflect back on what I said, the quote I had from the angels at the beginning here, is that the angels said that we have all, like, we have all of source within us, that we have all seven energies inside of us, but there's only one that we're currently working with. But we contain all, that we have all the answers within, right? We have all the energies within. It's just that there's one that's our specific causeway for expression. So as we progress as a soul, the goal is to become increasingly flexible and to be able to move into those other energies, so that eventually we're integrating all seven of those energies within us, right? That we become a full expression of source here on earth, right? That we are learning and growing into these different aspects, and they are aspects of ourself, even though we have one that is the place that comes easily to us in this lifetime. So and you're going to feel this also, when you're working within groups. So when you're working with other people, you'll notice that sort of that special magic that happens, when you're working within a group, that where you can get that sort of harmonious buzz, that excitement that comes. And it really is from the process of sort of in that process of reintegrating, recreating God between you, right? Recreating all seven, the integration of all seven energies is that incredible magic feeling of oneness, that brings us back to source. So it's super cool. So, so in talking about this, you might be wondering, like, in terms of your soul type, how much of your life does this actually impact? And by the way, if you guys are commenting, I'm not seeing the comments today for some reason. So if you guys have questions, put up a comment so I can see it if you can, and that way I'll know if I'm not seeing comments. Or you can even send me a text, just a text message or an IM, and I'll be able to see that. If you have specific questions, let me know as we're going through this, because then I'll have my phone here in case for some reason I'm using BeLive, and sometimes it works great, sometimes it works just okay. So, all right. So how much of your life does this actually impact? And it doesn't, your soul type only really impacts a very specific aspect of how you experience your life. So it's not your personality. So you can meet someone who has the exact same soul type as you and find that you have totally different personalities. And that's great, right? That's normal. What it does affect is the process through how you think, because the way that you express your soul type energy in the world is through your process of creation. And everything that you create starts in one specific place. It starts with one action, and that action is your decision. It's your choice. And then the way that you shape it, the way you shape the energy as it comes through you, is through the process that you take to make that choice. And here I'm getting some messages. So it looks like BeLive isn't working. Hi there. Lots of comment on your live. Thank you. I'm sorry I can't see any of your comments, you guys. I'll have to look after the fact. And thank you, Lisa, for telling me. If you guys do have any questions, do instant message me so that I'll see them. Otherwise, I won't be able to answer them live. So thank you for letting me know. I knew you guys were there. I just can't see it. BeLive doesn't work great all the time. But but anyways, so it comes to your decision process. Like, that is the way that you shape this source energy as it comes through you, the aspect that you're expressing. And the way that it's almost like your soul type is embodied as your process. And your process is the thing that shapes the energy as it comes through you. So it shapes, so what your soul type determines is how you think. What it doesn't determine is what you think about, or who you do it with, or where you do it, right? Or all these other aspects of your life that make us all unique and different people. It only really shapes this process. So you can have all these different expressions of the same kind of energy. So if you think about it, like, imagine that you're in a room, and I like to think about this for our challenge coming up on, on Monday, we're going to break into these different groups. And what you'll find in those different groups, imagine that you go to a dance with everybody who's the same soul type as you. And all of you are going to have the same dance moves, but you might all be listening to different music and wearing different outfits, right? Everything else is different. So it'll be like one of those dances where people wear the headphones and everybody's like jamming to their own music, but everyone's got the exact same dance. So that's the idea, is that you have the same thought process, but what you're thinking about might be totally different. So an important thing to know about the soul types is that there is no one soul type that's better than another, that every single one has been in the White House, that every single one has been at the top of major corporations, that all are capable of every expression of accomplishment on our planet. The thing that makes the difference is sort of, are they coming in at the time and in the place where their gifts are most needed? Right? Are we being utilized in the way that brings out the fullest expression of our capabilities? And one of the ways I like to think about that is looking at as an expression or an example of how this might come into play, is looking at big companies over time, like multi-generations, like multi-generational families. So one of the examples that I use is the Vanderbilt family. So who has heard of the Vanderbilts? Maybe just Gloria Vanderbilt, because she was like the famous fashion person. Hey there, Gabriella, thank you for the note. um, but but there's also the Vanderbilt family grew their fortune from way back when through the railroads, and originally through shipping. And they started way back when. The very first Vanderbilt was penniless, was absolutely penniless. And this family became one of the wealthiest families in the world. And the process that they went to get there involved two different soul types. So the first soul type was what I call a experimenting soul type. And this was the first Vanderbilt. His name was Cornelius Vanderbilt. People called him the Commodore. And his way of growing this company, what became a company, he originally borrowed money from his mom to buy a raft. And he started running shipments up and down this river. And he would go to places where other people were running routes, and he would undercut them. And he would offer to ship people's goods for less. And he would do this, continue doing this and doing this and doing this until finally the other person who had this route was so impacted that they had to negotiate with him. And he would either tell them that he would either force them out of business, or he would force them to pay him to go somewhere else. So it was like a game of chicken, where he would basically be, running up and pushing the other person and pushing until they gave one way or another. Either they went out of business or they paid him off. And he did this over and over and over again throughout his entire life. It was this very aggressive business tactic. And it was very much for this particular soul type, their way of expressing is, they sort of get into action, and they're very adaptive, and they bring a lot of momentum, and it's all about making it happen. So he went from a raft, a boat, to multiple boats, and then into railroads, and built this big railroad and became an incredibly wealthy family. His oldest son, William, was a totally different soul type. He was a coaching soul. And his way, Cornelius, didn't think that he knew his way of doing things worked. He didn't think any other way would work. He thought, so when he looked at his son, who was a coaching soul, who wouldn't behave in the same way at all, he would look at him and say, well, he can't do it. He can't run this company. He doesn't know how to do anything. And so he shipped him off to like a farm out in the wilderness, like way out of the way, thinking that William would never be able to succeed because William had a different way of doing it. Well, when Cornelius died, William came in and took over the business. And William, as a coaching soul, had a very different approach. And William was an excellent diplomat. And it just so happened that at this time, railroads had grown to a point where they were becoming highly regulated, where the government was stepping in, and where labor unions were forming. And so all the labor unions were starting to strike. And all the other railroads who hadn't had this change in leadership, all of them were being shut down by these strikes. Whereas William, who comes in with his beautiful coaching energy and his ability to negotiate and diplomacy, and he was the only railroad that never had any strikes. And consequently, he grew their fortune way beyond what it originally had been, to become the wealthiest man in the world. So, and this is just an example of the importance of soul type energy and how we relate to each other as soul types, at how different soul types really come into play depending on the place, depending on the time, depending on how it's expressed, right? Do you have the opportunity for your soul type to shine? And this is super impactful for us as solopreneurs, as those of us who are working on our own in our own business, where you have to wear all the hats, right? How do you express yourself successfully as a soul type? So that's a much larger question. But I can help you with that. I am going to, as a result of this conversation, I'm going to offer a free webinar on this after our challenge. So so our challenge goes until Thursday. So next Friday live is going to be a longer live. I'm going to spend more time with you guys, and I'm going to go much more in depth into what this looks like as a solo practitioner, and talk about how it affects you. So, but that's all for today. I think it was very fun to talk to you guys about this. This is one of my passions. This whole model I developed over years and years and years of work. And I think it's just super important for us to know and understand about ourselves. So anyway, so thank you very much for joining me today. And if you haven't joined the challenge yet, don't miss out. The invitation is here in the group, and it's you join the Unleash Your Vision Facebook group, as well as register on Zoom. And then don't forget to take the soul type quiz so that we know which group to put you in. It's going to be a super fun challenge. And like I said, I'm just so amazed and impressed by everybody who's in there already. So I can't wait to see you there. And I will see you again here next Friday. See you later.